Funding is fun, and funding, when you see growth in what you're funding, and you see, you're making those gains in that area, it encourages you to keep going. And so, funding, your way to retirement now, and doing it systematically with a little bit each day, a little bit out of each paycheck, can really make a big difference.
Family, what's up? Welcome to the Bacon Bits Podcast, where we desire for you to take the bits of information and immediately apply them to your life for success. The ground rules for this podcast is that it will always be encouraging, uplifting, and informative. The areas of life that we'll be talking about on the Bacon Bits Podcast is dealing with having a balanced life. And I need to hear y'all say it. Say it out loud. Say valuable information applied equals success. And ladies and gentlemen, backed by popular demand, one of my favorite young men that's in my life, he's phenomenal. Great marriage to the wonderful Michelle. How long y'all been married, Nate?
17 years.
17 years. They got 3 of the most awesome sons in the world. They are phenomenal. Great role models in their level of grades of where they're at, man. They just beautiful, bro. They inspire me at this age. So he's doing it right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the wonderful podcast, the wonderful Nathan McKelvey.
All right. Thank you for having me back. I'm gonna receive that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then thank you for blessing me, because I'm always very gracious to be on this podcast and seeing the great thing that God is doing in your life, and the inspiration that just oozes out of you, that is infectious. You how do you put it? Toxic.
Yeah, positivity.
Positively toxic. And so I'm toxified by you, brother John Bacon. So thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, excited. So Nate is an insurance agent for the wonderful New York Life.
Yes.
And can you give me more of an introduction of what your role is at New York Life?
Right. So since you last saw me I was insurance agent was my title. Now I am what we call a registered representative. So that means I have gotten some certifications behind me. So now I am able to help with securities in the market. And so that means I am on more along of the lines of a financial advisor. And so I can now help people, do more than just protect their family, but do more by way of planning for retirement and other life events.
So I'm so encouraged by you, man. Can you do me a favor, Nate, and tell me what inspired you to pursue a career in financial planning?
What inspired me to pursue a career in financial planning is I've always been personally good with money. God's blessed me to, be a saver. And so just inherently, that's a passion of mine. I got a finance degree from the U of A, and then I just had a mentor who was in the field who I began with. Then I went to work at Walgreens and got accustomed to that life, and then got bit by the entrepreneurship bug because I wanted to spend more time with my family, but God just had some things for me to learn in that season. And so this mentor that I had asked me if it was a good time to get back into it, because COVID had happened and I was in between situations, and I thought yes. And what drives me personally now is just knowing some of our statistics as a black culture, as a black people.
Yeah.
And that's one of them is that we make up 13.6% of the U.S. population, but we only hold 4.7% of the wealth here, in comparison to about 84% of that wealth to whites. And so I really wanted to help make a difference in that number. And what wealth is equated to is our income levels, our debt levels, and then our asset ownership levels. And so being able to help us see beyond today that, hey, there's some progress that we need to make. And it's not just for our own benefit so that we can have a lifestyle that we're enjoying on today, but it's also to be able to plan and leave something behind for the future generations, to give them that hand up that they'll need to be successful and to increase these numbers here that we see in wealth, because we see our stars on TV, we see our basketball. Yes, that's still only 4.6% of wealth here. There's so much more gains that need to be made, and it comes with how you handle your personal finances at home.
Yeah, and I understand it's a personal approach that you try to tailor to the people that so they can have a strategy for their own life, because everybody is so unique in their financial situation. So it's so awesome to know that I know you emphasize a unique approach to personalize financial strategy. So can you tell us how you can help each individual with their uniqueness?
Okay. And I think that personal approach to finances is one that people, it's probably like one of the most misconceptions about what I do out there is that someone thinks they're going to sit with me and I'm going to tell them what they should be doing. No,
Right.
I'm going to listen about what you want to do. What do you want to accomplish?
Yes, sir.
Where do you want to be at? Okay. And then we're going to look at what you're doing now in place. And then the most important thing, we're going to look at your income. Can you accomplish that with the money that you're making right now? And then what's the time horizon that you want to accomplish this in? And then what kind of things that we can do to move forward. So financial planning and advising is really about what you as a consumer or you as a client want to do and have your money do for you. And then what are your tolerances to be able to do it in? And then we go from there.
Right on, right on. What are some of the biggest challenges people face when making financial decisions?
I think the biggest challenges people make when making financial decisions is just moving. Inherently, I think we know where we're at, or we have a feeling and we have this angst and we're worried about something, but we're afraid to just talk to somebody about it. And so probably the biggest challenge is talking to somebody professional about it, and they think, oh, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. No, there's different advisors out there, and you get kind of what you pay for, but I'm a commission-based advisor, and so it's free to talk to me. I don't charge for my time. You'll walk away with nuggets, whether we do business or not, but I do have a process with people that even if we're not able to work or you're maybe not in the right place financially to make some decisions now, you'll walk away with a good foundation of, hey, this is what I need to get in place before we can start moving and making some real gains in my life in these areas.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know y'all heard that word that's, so phenomenal. Free. Oh, free consultation. Family. Notice, it ain't costing you nothing, but guess what? It's helping you get your financial situation in order, because family, the way it's looking, and I'm only speaking on what I'm seeing. I don't think Social Security going to be there for the younger generation, man. I just really don't believe that. So, fam, I'm understanding that, and I always use a statistic at my job. So right now, currently in Arizona, the minimum wage is $14.35 an hour. And you time that by, 40 hours a week, that's $574. You time that by the 52 weeks in a year, and fam, you're looking at like $28,700. And you time that, and I notice I'm not a big college person, me personally. That's why I'm loving that I'm having somebody on here that's, got the education. But if I would have worked from 18 to 65 at that rate right there, $14.35, I would have made $1.3 million in my lifetime. And that's not counting taxes, and we talking about all that. But the question is always this. It's not how much money have I made. It's how much money have I kept. And I think that's something that's not emphasized enough of. It ain't the fact that we make money, y'all. Like I said, that's minimum wage. And none of us want to make minimum wage for the rest of our lives. So we can make $1.3 million from 18 to 65. That's 47 years. And I ain't even talking about working 52 weeks a year. I did it at 50 weeks a year when I did the statistics. And I'm like, the calculations. And I'm like, man, $1.3 million in my lifetime, and that's on minimum wage. What is happening with my money that I can have an accountability to, and I can see where it's coming at, so that's really big. So my question would be, can you share a success story where a personalized financial strategy made a significant impact on a client's life?
Yes, and so one that comes to mind is a widow that I met through just going through my church registry, and I called up some church members and wanted to see if there's a way for me to help any of them in what I do. And she was a widow whose husband passed, and like some households, the husband was the planner, and so had lots of stuff going for himself in the market and stuff. But when he passed, she started getting lots of notifications of resources he had out there, but she had no idea on how to gather them to herself and what her next steps were with them. And so her and myself and a teammate with New York Life sat down and helped her to, one, just gather her assets together and then make some crucial and decisions about what she's doing, right? And so now she's set up in a good place where she's got long-term care in place. If she should ever have a health consequence where she needed somebody to care for her, she could have that taken care of in her home. She has an annuity that's going to pay her lifetime income, and so that's going to help her meet her daily expenses. Mm-hmm. She has money in a fixed account that's growing for her, so she doesn't have to worry about losing money in the market. And then she has a nice chunk of change for her traveling because she loves to travel. So,
yeah. family, listen to that, man. So it's never too late. So we want to start as soon as possible, because I've given I've said it on here before, the fact that, a couple of years back when me and Nate went to do some insurance and I got me $100,000 policy. And at that time, the rate for me was $300-something a month for a $100,000 policy. And then one of our younger brothers, he had a $100,000 policy and his was $65 a month. And I was like, what in the world? And it had nothing to do with, because I'm in good shape, I don't smoke and all that. But family had everything to do with age,
right?
So starting sooner with life insurance is super important, man. And you can see why, So family, don't wait. Please do me a favor. Jump into that thing as soon as possible. And like we just said we're going to get all of Nate's information and put it on the page so you can see it, man. Please call this young man if you're in the Tucson area anywhere. And please call him because, fam, I want to help us all out as much as we possibly can to get our financial situation in order. So, Nate, I wanted to ask you a question because, things are constantly changing. So how do you stay updated with the latest financial trends and regulations?
All right. So I use everybody's source of great information, which is YouTube.
Okay.
But when I'm not there, my firm also has a lot of representatives in different areas of finance to really keep us abreast. And so this last week we met with a financial from one of our fund managers of Fidelity, and he really kept us, let us know what to expect in the market. What are people's temperatures when it comes to what are people's temperatures when it comes to what's going on in the world today, and how fragile is our economy. And so he said there's a lot of resilience to there, but there are some factors that can impact it. But a lot of positivity, more than I was expecting. And so so that lets people know that now is a good time to again consider. And it's not just we can't time the market. And when we talk about timing the market, it's trying to buy low and sell high and get out. Right. There's a lot of try to that's everybody's dream to find that, you know what I mean? But it's a systematic approach, and so it's being able to contribute. And I like to use the word fun because saving is another reason, one of those things that keeps people away from doing it because they want to spend it, right? So I said funding is fun, and funding when you see growth in what you're funding, and you see you're making those gains in that area, it encourages you to keep going. And so, funding, your way to retirement now and doing it systematically with a little bit each day, a little bit out of each paycheck can really make a big difference. But yes, that's how they kind of keep us educated. And along with books, because I was trying to learn how to get better and more knowledgeable of what I do and just how to do it because, part of what I do is I got to convince you that this is a part of your life that you need to, really attack and take serious. And so finding better ways to express that is one of those things that I try to focus in now on.
Because I think the thing that's it's something that I relate to because I think about this, and I love when you said it at the beginning of the podcast is the fact that it's almost like I'm putting you in a wheelchair, and you tell me where you want to go. And I'm going to push you to say where you, not force you. I'm pushing you to where you want to go. Because you say if you want more savings, you say you want to have a life insurance policy. So in case something happened to me, because fam, there's still to this day no piece of paper that's in your wallet or your purse that says you're going to live to see tomorrow. So you got to know that, guess what, in case something happens to me, especially like with these plane crashes we done had recently and all that, family and the financial situations that's going on, there's no guarantee almost about anything except your salvation in Jesus. Definitely got to put that out there. But what are some common misconceptions people have about life insurance, Nate?
I think one of the misconceptions about it is that it's really expensive. Okay. So, you don't know until you actually go through the process. Okay. And so, prior to that, we're just, so we just don't know, right? You got to go through the process, see what you qualify for. There is underwriting behind it that will give you, your health rating based off your age and other factors, and let you know what it actually costs you to, be insured. The other thing is just this idea of living for today. People just don't think they're gonna die, right? And so being prepared, and so and then it's knowing the different types of life insurances out there.
Yes.
You need protection for today.
Yes.
And so term is good for that. You got some on your job.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, things are changing. So if you lose your job, do you lose your life insurance? Okay. So it's good to have it with a third party like myself, because usually you can have more. When you get your job, it's on a group basis, and there's a limit to how much you can have.
Yes, that's
you
right.
can actually have what your family needs and what will help your family survive and go without your income, with a third party like myself. But at the same time, you need to plan for tomorrow. So that's where something, a permanent product, a guaranteed product like whole life can fit in that. And you don't have to take a whole lot of it because of the cost sometimes, but there are some guaranteed factors and benefits to it that, should you run it in congruency with your term policy, by the time you retire, you'll have some cash in there too that you can pull from and have a living benefit, as well as secure a guaranteed death benefit for your family. So those are some of the misconceptions. We don't know the types. We think it's too expensive. I also run into, well, what if I can't pay? What if you can? Okay, what if you can? If you can, you really set your family, your spouse, you really save them some headache, because that's another part of what I do, is that life isn't always tight and neat. We don't just croak.
Come on.
There's sickness, there's time in the hospital companies, there's people that come out of the woodwork, there's estate taxes, there's all these other things that we're just not aware of that can happen. So having something set aside for that extra, just in case that can happen is very important. So we just really don't we're just not really aware of what all can go wrong that will go wrong at that time.
Okay. What does the word annuities mean?
Annuity in its definition just means it's a contract with a life insurance company.
Okay.
So it's different than a note that you have with a bank, or a loan that you would get through a bank. It's just an agreement that you have with your life insurance company. There's different forms of them, so you gotta kind of do your research. But when you annuitize, it's taking a chunk of money and then having it, picking out how much of that, or the institution will tell you how much you can have of that will last you your lifetime. And so so it's almost like a form of a pension, but they also are ways of protecting your money. So good things with some of the annuities that with New York Life is there's a death protection on it, and so that you don't get that with any kind of market security or anything that you're investing in. So you get a death benefit to it, and then you can actually build in other protections. So it's a way for you to have some peace of mind about how you're growing your money. But with that, there are some costs. So there are some surrender charges and different things that go wrong, and some fees that you want to be aware of. But it just depends on what stage of life you're in and how accessible you want that money to be to you. And so there's some criteria, but that's how, generally how some annuities can work out there for you.
So financial planning is a long-term commitment, and it's just like with anything, man. Whether it's marriage or whether it's with your health, because I say it, religiously out loud. I want to be a healthy 100, not just make it to be 100, but be a healthy 100. So that's a long-term process. I'm 57, so I got 43 more years to go, Lord willing. But you think about how do you build trust and maintain a relationship with your clients over time?
Okay. And so, like you said, financial planning, it's a process. Okay. And so I always tell people we're interviewing, what I mean? I think everybody needs to have a planner in their pocket, somebody that they're close to, that they can build a relationship with. Yes. I may not be that person for you, but you need somebody in that role. Yeah. Somebody to be that coach in your life to help you stay on target for your goals, and to give you, kind of like a map of where you can be, should things go right. How I keep touch with my contacts is constantly sending out emails, making them aware. But it is a two-way relationship, and so I will check on them, once a year or twice a year to make sure that they understand what they have, to make sure that their life hasn't changed, because other things can come up in life, and I want them to know that I'm here to be able to help them. But the other thing is I never turn my phone off, so my clients also have access to my personal phone number. So if they have questions, if they want to, go deeper into something, if something's changed in their lives and they want to reach out to me, definitely am available for that as well.
Yeah, that's huge, man, because you think about it. If I go get a yearly physical, guess what? We should have our finances physically checked every year. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful way to look at it. What advice would you give to someone just starting to think about long-term financial future?
Well, first thing I would talk to them about is, kind of just learning to budget yourself, learning to live within your means. Okay, learning to, know that you don't need everything out there. You got to set aside something, right? And then to start talking about where to set that something aside. When I sit down with most people, because of things are going, they're not aware they don't have an emergency fund.
Right.
Okay? And so it's learning to say, hey, things can go wrong. I don't want to rely on a credit card. I don't want to rely on family or friends. Right. So I got to put something aside for emergencies. And then beyond that, I got to start putting something away for the future. And so when we learn how to budget our money, and then we learn how to give our money purpose and delegate to our money what we want it to do for us, we can have a better outlook. But it's really just in the foundation of it is living within our means, saying, understanding, that if I don't have the biggest and the best, there's going to be a difference that I have that can make a difference in my future.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. How do major life changes such as marriage, having children, or retirement affect financial planning?
Okay. And so again, I think it goes back to that budget. If we haven't planned for those major events when they happen, they're catastrophic, right? Yeah, we're not ready for them, or we charge them, or we go into debt to satisfy that want that we want at that time. Otherwise, if we can put off marriage till we're ready and we're set to have it the right way, then we can do. That should be done. But when it comes to death and some of those things, we can't plan for it. It's sitting down with a financial advisor to know, should I retire? Is this the right time for me to retire? What are the consequences of me to retire? How long will my money last me if I were to retire at this time? So having that evaluation, but this is kind of like a confession time with a priest. When people say, because we're going to ask you everything about your money, everything about your planning, you know what I mean? And it's time to be honest, about what it is. But you can't get better if you can't get honest. You can't get better if you can't confess to, what you really indulge in and what you really like. And then, we got to confront it. What is maybe taking up more of your money than it should be? Because like you said, you look back and say, hey, all those fast food outings that I had, all those Starbucks, those car washes that I had on my phone, on my car, again, the Netflix and those things, they're adding up. And so I like to tell people, you're living retired today. And so, you're living retired life at 35, And so really to hone in on some of those things and start, putting some of that money in the future for yourself. And so I'll tell them.
All right. Next couple of last questions I want to ask you, brother.
Right.
So what's one piece of financial advice you would believe everyone should follow, regardless of their age or income level?
Financial advice. My advice again is to interview a financial advisor. I said, be it myself, be it somebody else, find somebody that you got to trust. Okay, there's a lot of faith in what we do. There's no silver bullet to getting to you to where you want to be, but you got to understand that again, we say it takes money to make money, and not actually true. Like I said, there's different kind of advisors out there. But finding the right person for you to trust and to get that you can be open with, to see how they can work with you and just get insight into what you can do better, and that if you were to take that first step, if we were to lose that first fear of sitting down with somebody and being vulnerable, I think that would just really increase that wealth building number, because I tell you, other cultures aren't afraid. Okay. Yeah. They have it ingrained in their culture. They have a family professional that's worked with the family over the time, and that's why they all are on the same page when it comes to their finances. And so that is what I would, that's one of those things that I would really encourage our people to do, and is take that first step. Right on.
And one of the many reasons that I admire you so wonderfully is the things that I'm constantly preaching on this podcast is balance, man. So, I talked about it. Great marriage, great kids, great health, man. You're doing it, man. How has your faith played into all of those wonderful dynamics of making you the man of who you are today?
How's my faith played? Oh my goodness, that's a good question. I say that what I do is really the gospel. You know what I mean? I'm really trying to take a message to people that could be a stiff-necked people, right?
Yes, sir.
About something that can change your life, and that's the gospel. I'm preaching Jesus to those out there, saying that he can change your life. Well, sitting down with a planner and getting a plan can really change your life, and can really help you be more hopeful about your future if you just knew what little tweaks you could do to have more at the end of the day, right? And so that's how I view what I do, and that's how my faith plays into what I do. I say I'm out here just trying to change the mindsets of the masses with some financial education.
Right on, man. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Fam, you know we only bring on the best people on this podcast because, family, I really want you to be blessed in every area: financial, relational, physical, mental, and spiritual. So, Nate, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. You have been a tremendous blessing to us, and we are super grateful, man.
Thank you for having me, John Bacon. I appreciate it. I love you, brother. I wish you tons of success and growth so that I can be an asset to you in any way I can.
Oh, appreciate it, fam. You know we ain't got nothing but love for every last one of y'all that's listening. Go back and listen to this podcast over and over because, fam, I really want you to get this drilled in your head. We have got to take our finances way more serious than we have. Don't take it for granted that, the money that you're going to make is always going to be there. So, not as a scare, but it's called preventive medication when it comes to our finances. Fam, we love you. Don't want nothing but the best for you. God bless. All right. What's up, family? It's your boy, John Bacon from the Bacon Bits Podcast. Thank you so much for your support, likes, and ratings. Please don't just listen, but rate me, follow me, and subscribe. This is an amazing way to offer free support. My beautiful queen and I have some books that we have written for your growth.
So the first book we have is a workbook, actually. It's called Healthy Relationships, and this is a workbook through the lens of faith. Because what makes a relationship healthy or unhealthy? So this workbook is designed, it's a 12-week, it's a biblically grounded course, and every week has a few different principles. So some of our principles, some of our topics that we're covering are respect, cultivating security. And this is not just between a husband and wife. This is between parents, between siblings, between friends, between your bosses, employers. So it's really important, and everyone deserves a healthy relationship.
And also we have The Balanced Life by John Bacon. It covers how to be prosperous in your finances, relationships, your health, your mind, and your spirit. So you can pick that up on Amazon, also on audiobook. And we also have
The Unraveling, a creative healing journal, pinings, poems, prayers, and ponderings of my precarious life. I've had a testimony of, I've had 2 brain tumors and 2 brain surgeries, and I'm super grateful, but I'm still grieving the process of healing. And this is part of the process. In this book, you have devotionals, you have prayers, and you have some ponderings. And in between these pages, there's a space for you to also be prompted to paint and to create your own, or maybe you want to write something in these books. This is part of your creative healing journal that we get to walk through together.
And you guys can just head over to Kingdom Servants First. Kingdom Servants, the number 1, st.com. And you can purchase all 3 of these books. Thank you for your support, your love, and your contributions. God bless.